The Floor Academy podcast is sponsored by Trelama, the trade labor marketplace, where businesses can find skilled trade labor, such as flooring installers, and where flooring installers and other skilled tradespeople can find permanent or project work. You can set up your profile at trelama.com, TRALAMA.com, or download the app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. And remember, Trelama is always free for skilled tradespeople. In-floor heating has never been easier. The new 2020 NWFA guidelines provide electric in-floor heating options that do not require the system to be embedded in cement. The Warm Step system allows for safe installation for glue-down, floating, and nailed-down installation directly over an in-floor heating system. What does that mean for the wood flooring dealer or installer? It means you can now offer your customers a simpler, faster, more cost-effective option for safely installing electric in-floor radiant heat systems with a wood floor. ThermoSoft's Warm Step is tested and approved by many flooring adhesive and fastener manufacturers. Visit warmstep.com now to learn how you can heat up your business with the best in-floor heating system for wood floors. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hedin, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Phoenix, Arizona. We're here talking with flooring professionals from all across the country about the issues that matter to you. I want to encourage you to learn while you earn. This week's guest is Schannon Violet. Schannon owns and operates That Tile Chick. After 4 years of schooling to be an accountant and 6 years being one, she said, "This isn't for me," and hung it all up. She moved to Houston and started a remodeling company with her partner. Listen in to find out how her accounting background has helped her grow her business, why drive and mindset make a huge difference, and how you can learn to be successful. Schannon Violet, are you on the line?
I'm here.
Awesome. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I really, truly appreciate you joining us.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I wish I could find more female installers to, or just female entities in the flooring trade in general to participate. It is definitely a male-dominated world, sadly.
Yes, yeah, it is. It is for sure.
We're not even good at it. We're not detail-oriented.
I mean, I guess it's debatable. I mean, it just depends, really. It depends.
I know. There's definitely guys that are very, very good at it, but
yeah. Don't give us all the credit.
no. All right, just a little bit then. So I don't want to focus on this too much, but you didn't kind of introduce yourself. You girl, you like jumped in the deep end with a cannonball.
Yeah, I did, didn't I? I mean, whether it was kind of it was a on purpose accident.
Yeah, well, and it's not even you that made the waves. That's the sad part. So let's before we even get into that, which I think is fascinating, and we could definitely spend a lot of time on it, but I really don't want to give that audience too much of. I don't want to give them too much attention. So let's have you introduce yourself. Let's talk about who you are, where you came from, how you got involved in the tile industry, and where you're going, and then we can talk about the waves that were made that should have been ripples, and then we'll go talk about more important stuff.
Okay. Well, to start, I'm Schannon Violet, also known as That Tile Chick, if there's anybody who's listening that doesn't know who I am. And I started out in trades in general, just helping my dad, because my dad has been in construction my entire life. And I just kind of took a keen interest in things that he was doing when I was younger. I always wanted to be a part of what he was doing and help him. And it just kind of stuck with me my entire life. When I went to college, I would ask him if I can come work with him, and I have. On multiple things. He used to build custom ponds, and he did all like the stonework for the waterfalls and stuff like that. And he really enjoyed that. And he does concrete. So he is multifaceted, and he's taught me a lot. So that kind of started my interest in trades. And, you know, he always told me growing up, like, you have to go to college, you have to get an education. And I did. I
Mm-hmm.
was the first person in my entire family, of a very big family, to go to college, graduate, and have, like, you know, a job that wasn't either construction or owning my own business. So it's like the American dream. I was sold it.
Okay.
So I went to
Congratulations, though.
college. Yeah, I know. You know, I did that. It's an accomplishment, and, you know, I'm glad I did it. But um, so when did my mindset change? It changed when I, like about 4 to 5 years ago, I was working for the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. I was doing audits for their major construction projects. So the last one that I worked on was the Holland Tunnel. They were replacing all the electrical, and it was my dream job, right? So I was like, oh, I got my dream job. I work for the Port Authority. I'm auditing. I'm still in the construction industry. So I was there for a couple months, and I just looked around and I was like, man, everybody just is like, wait, they're literally just taking off the calendar till they retire. You know, nobody is
Mm-hmm.
like, I love my job or progressing and growing. It was just like, I just felt like, wow, I got this job, and now it doesn't matter how good I am. I'm going to move up the ladder. You know, it doesn't matter because it's by like years of service and, you know, time invested and things like that. Very old school mentality, which is
Yeah.
it's good for some, but I quickly realized that is not my mentality. I need challenge and I need change all the time. Otherwise, I become complacent
Mm-hmm.
and frustrated.
I can relate.
So, yeah, so that's kind of what happened. And I started getting into reading, and I've always been interested in reading about, these big CEOs, how they got to where they were, and reading stories. And so I came across Robert Kiyosaki, and it's a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yep.
And it literally, like, I don't mean to sound cliche, but it completely changed my life and, like, changed my view on my entire future. So ever since that point, my entire mindset of how I want my future to be changed. And then Harvey hit. I was still at the Port Authority, and my dad was like, well, he's like, if you don't want to do this, just go move to Houston, start your own business. Cause that's how my dad has always been. He's just always been that type of guy. Like, I'm going to make it. There is no other way.
Mm-hmm.
And so me and my business partner, we moved down to Houston. We started a remodeling company, and both he and I have experience in multiple different trades and in business in general. So we kind of just combined our skills, and, we struggled. We definitely struggled. We're in a new market. We're in a new place that we don't know anything about. We chose Houston only because there's always a demand for construction. That's number one. Number two, I wanted to move somewhere warm. So it was either Houston or Florida.
Okay.
Those were my options. Those are my two choices, top places. And the third reason is because I also wanted to invest in real estate as a long-term thing, for, generating wealth down the road. So Houston, if you look at migration charts, and now I'm getting super nerdy, of people moving around the United States, a lot of people move to the southern states because of weather and it's cheaper.
Yep.
But the only advantage that Houston has is we have the oil and gas industry, so pay is higher. And even though I'm not in oil and gas, you have a higher income, median income level.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be in a better market for your services and stuff like that, a higher end market. So that's really what drew me to Houston specifically.
That's some deep research because I would say, look, I live in the one of the depending on the month, it's the fastest
Uh-huh.
growing county in America. Here in Phoenix, it's
Yeah.
Maricopa, and of course,
Mhm.
all the Californians are coming and they're trying to California my Arizona, which I don't appreciate. But
Yeah, they do that to Texas too.
we
It's
yeah,
okay.
exactly. And then you've got the New Yorkers trying to New York, Florida. So that's an interesting one. But whatever. Um, but we've got Intel here, which for the same thing, like computers aren't really going anywhere, and there's generally very high paying positions. And so if you can get into some of the bigger neighborhoods, it's
Mhm.
definitely advantageous because all of them go to the same place and they work at the same
Yep.
office and they start saying, "Oh, hey, I use this person," and it gets to be word of mouth very quickly.
Exactly. And really that's start I started out in a 900 square foot apartment, with a printed out piece of paper that had my business name on it. We invested a couple $1,000s in tools, which I still have some of them today,
Hmm.
just because I try to use my money wisely. So we make do with what we have. Um, and so in tile, so to further my answer to you is tile specifically, well, just by using the skills that we had and trying to hire people. So trying to find a skilled anything here is, and I'm not just saying it's Houston because I'm sure that it's everywhere else and any other GC that has any experience whatsoever trying to hire a subcontractor probably has the same problems.
Hmm.
It's trial and error. You have 10 bad ones and you find one really good one and hopefully they work out for 6 months, but then on the seventh month they have a family issue and
Yeah.
they go away. But like but with tile specifically, oh boy, like we were coming across, customers and failing showers and atrocities and I'm just what's going on? Why is this going on and what's happening? So we started doing research, educating ourselves, going out to the innovation workshops, watching YouTube. I mean, we are in the age of information. You can literally find anything on the internet. So we were on the John Bridge forums a lot,
Okay.
doing a lot of research, a lot of reading, and we came across Sal de Blasi. I watched probably every video that he has and watched it multiple times. And every night while eating dinner, we were hanging out with Sal de Blasi. So
Hmm.
uh, it's just it's because if you are going to do something, you need to get educated on it and you need to get educated on the proper technical aspects of it because just tiling or just laying a floor, I'm sure that I can find anybody can go to Home Depot and pay somebody $100 for the day and they'll lay the floor. How long is it going to last? Probably not very long,
Yep.
but there's just a difference between slapping tile or slapping flooring down versus doing it right and doing it to last. So that kind of is it's not kind of, it is what got me into tiling.
Okay.
So I did my own, and I learned, and it's not easy, and it took me time. And so it's not until just this May where I started my page, I got myself out there as me, Shannon, because I've been like floating behind the scenes. Like I've been in the groups with my business page and my partner for 3-4 years. Getting to know, I've known who Ken Ballin is for years.
Hmm.
It's just, I've never been out there because I've been just watching and learning and figuring it out as I go for a few years now. And I just now finally decided like I'm ready to take the leap to quit my full-time job because it was the goal after all. And I did. I started my page and shortly after that, I'm like, I'm ready to go out on my own and do this full time. Like I have enough confidence now and I'm ready. So
So
that's where I am now.
okay, so you quit your Port Authority job, but you moved to Houston and you picked up another accounting job to support you in the
Correct.
meantime.
Yes, because we weren't generating enough revenue at the time to support everything, because
Hmm.
we got into contract with a flip house. We have the house that we're renovating now to make as a rental. So it was helpful to have a W-2 job
Yeah.
while trying to secure a mortgage when I didn't have enough revenue in the business to give myself a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a little bit different. So, but you just kind of have to do what you have to do until you're able to actually make your goals come to life. So,
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so you knew who some of the bigger players were before you like introduced yourself to this world, since you were playing around with it. And like I said, I don't want to spend too much
exactly.
time here, but if there's anything I can say, like, I'm disgusted by our trade's reaction to your entrance to the online forums, at least on Facebook. I found it
Yeah.
utterly disrespectful. I think the phrase of "boys will be boys" is completely unacceptable, and the fact that no one's holding any of these people accountable for their professionalism, let alone their train of thought, is very appalling. Why is
Well,
it like, how is it your fault their mind is twisted? That's what I don't get, is like, why is it that essentially like that train of thought is you dress that way so you're asking to be raped, where in fact it should be the man's thought is wrong, and so you should be held accountable for raping her because you can't think right. Like it that's and okay, so it's getting over exaggerated a little bit there, but the train of thought runs the same way on both ends, I think.
oh, like absolutely, because and then as females, right? Because there's also some women who have said some egregious things to me as well. And it's a culture thing. It's a society thing. It's what society puts on us as females. But in reality, I'm going to tell you, I don't dress any way for anybody. I dress in normal clothing. Like
Mm-hmm.
the clothing that I've worn on social media is clothing I wear every single day. I didn't like pick out that outfit to take a photo.
Yeah.
It's the photos that I had on the beginning of my page were like it's sick that I even like went out of my way to explain myself as much as I did, but I said to a bunch of people, like the photo that everybody it lost their mind about was
Mm-hmm.
me in my gym clothes. That was my flip house. I went there on a weekend after the gym and I took a picture because I was just astounded by the fact of how big the tile was because I have never seen a tile that big.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a picture next to it. And like I have people picking apart my posture, the way I'm standing. I'm standing provocatively, and I'm just thinking to myself, what? Like, have you been on the internet? Do you know what provocative means? Because I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that there is you can Google the word provocative, and there's not going to be a picture of a girl standing with a tile. Like, like my legs aren't like spread open. I'm not wearing some lingerie. Like, I'm wearing gym clothes. I came from the gym,
Yeah.
and so it's just, and even still, just yesterday, I got some egregious comments about my clothing that I wear still, that, my shirts are tight fitting and you can see my curves. And I'm like, well, I'm a female, I have a chest, I have hips. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what you want me to do. Would you like me to hide that so that you can feel more comfortable? I feel very sorry for the people who go to your grocery store, the women who you are around in public. That is a scary, scary thought that you go to that length to
Mm-hmm.
describe my clothing. It's just, and how many men are thinking like this out in the public?
Yeah. And look, at the end of the day, and I think we can leave it with this, and if you have another thought, let me know, but we'll move on from it, is you're responsible for your own thoughts. Man, woman,
Yeah.
child, you control your thoughts. And so if that's where your mind is going, you need to examine yourself and figure out what's wrong with you. It's somebody doing their job and they're showing off what they're doing. Because I looked at it, in no way are you there trying to be some kind of tile model. You're there doing a job. End of story.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And the way that the only difference here between me and other people is that they say that I make myself the focus. Well, it's my page and it's my business and it's my image and I choose to represent myself the way I want to represent myself. I'm not getting mad at you because you're posting only your best work on your page and being a show off. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care what you post on your page. don't worry about what I post on mine. I want to post my journey of how I got to where I am. I post multiple things. I talk about what I'm doing. I'm not just like showing off my miter cuts over and over again. It's like I'm just doing something a little bit different than what other people are doing. Like it's like I'm just sharing my story in a different way. And I don't ask everybody to like it. I
Hmm.
don't really care. I'm doing it the way I want. And so like it's interesting.
You have every right to build your brand the way you want to build your brand.
Yeah.
And in
I
fact,
mean,
they're probably helping you because it gets you more looks and views and whatnot. So there you go. For as much as they
yeah,
don't
I
like
guess.
it, they're helping promote it because right, that's the
Yeah,
way
they're
the
still
algorithm
contributing
works.
to
Yep.
it. Yes, exactly.
So thank you, but
Yeah.
shut up. All right.
Exactly.
So let's take this somewhere else. Oh, political call. That sounds like fun. We'll get rid of that one. We're very professional here at the I can't even talk Floor Academy podcast. And it's amazing because I have it set to be on silent and nighttime mode, so like nothing should get through, and yet it
Hmm.
did. All right. Anyways, so you said in your intro that you're big on education, and so you were going and looking at the Sal de Blasi videos, and you were on, reading books and researching whatever you could do. Um, I think that's really important. A lot of contractors don't know how to run a business, hence Floor Academy even exists. So,
Hmm.
how has your accounting background helped you already? That in my opinion, that gives you a huge leg up. Like you're starting steps above everybody else that's going to start out as just a contractor because you at least knew how the numbers worked.
It has helped me in in every way possible because not only do I know how to just do basic accounting, bookkeeping work, but I audited construction jobs, like big construction projects. So when it comes down to job costing and actually knowing all the facets that come into a project, not just one scope of work like tiling or doing the flooring installation, it like being able to see things from a macro standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
not so much just like inside the business, but above the business at all the operations that happen behind the door, so to say, from being able to, what expenses are included in your overhead versus your operating, and how should you record them and what should you do with them? Like what processes can you put in place in order to keep better records? Things like that. And just like the language and the knowledge of what your balance sheet should look like that you need to give to your accountant.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know you're actually making money? What what are all the costs that go into, your daily operations? What's your overhead? What's your markup? What's your profit? How do you write your contracts? Because people are different. Businesses are different. What's your business model? And it all comes down to the way that you write your contracts, how you invoice, what payments are you going to accept? Are you going to accept credit card? Are you going to charge the client a fee for using the credit card? Because you're going to get charged a fee as a
Mm-hmm.
vendor or whatever they call it. I'm losing my train of thought, but it's just very basic operating things that I just think that can overwhelm the small business owner, especially when it's like, well, I just know that I know how to do this and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And the only experience I have with that is my father, because all of these things have always overwhelmed him. Because it's like, well, he's like, I don't know, you just do it. Like that was always his answer. Like, I don't know, I'll just pay somebody to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still till this day running around with a box of receipts in his truck and losing half of them and doesn't know the difference between an overhead cost and a job cost and, doesn't keep track of, wear and tear on his vehicle or doesn't know that he can, write off a brand new vehicle for depreciation within the first 3 years, things like that. No clue, and
Hmm.
it's just little things, and it helps you be able to plan, budget. That's the other problem is like budgeting. Like how many jobs do I need to sell this year to make $100,000? I know that my overhead for me to operate every single day is going to cost X. So therefore, if I know that I need to make $1,000 a day, and that's going to cover my overhead, cover my income that I want to make. That means I need to sell X amount of jobs to make whatever, and I need to
Hmm.
operate at this level of efficiency to meet that goal. So I don't think a lot of business owners think like that. They're just like, well, I'm going to do it. Here's my sign outside and hope for the best.
Yeah. Well, I agree because look, I knew I wanted to go out on my own, and I got into some trouble and got fired, and there I was out on my own all of a sudden, and all
Mhm.
I knew was, okay, I have tools, I have a skill, I can go and sell it,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, I'm going to have money in my pocket, and the bank account kept growing. So that looks great, right? Like as long as
hmm
I'm putting in more than I'm taking out, I'm doing good. And
Yep.
I explained this to my bookkeeper that I have now because I got her after like 6 months, and she's like, well, I mean, you're not wrong, but what about X, Y, and Z? And she starts explaining all this stuff to me. I was like, look, I know those terms, but I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you lost me 5 minutes ago. And
Yeah.
so I understand what you're saying, and I keep learning more and more. And I think that's very important because, first and foremost, right, you went out on your own, you started a business. You're no
Yeah.
longer an installer. You're not the skilled tradesperson anymore because you started a business. You are now a salesperson. You are I made up an org chart. So I am the president, the salesperson, the marketing, the warehouse person, the operations manager, the installer. Because I checked off the apprentice box because I got one of those now.
Yeah.
I checked off the website box because I got one of those. I got a CPA, I got a bookkeeper, and I have a financial advisor. So like that's all third party stuff that's checked off. But if you can think of a position in a company right now, I am that person.
Yep.
And so you went from wearing one hat for another company to wearing 40 hats, and nobody looks at it that way, and that's the problem. Is you need to realize you need 39 additional skill sets, and the last thing you are is the installer.
Yep.
So how has that journey worked out for you? Because I know you just took on your very first paid project that was not part of a flip house that you did as a tile setter.
Well, I am. Here's where I'm going to say that you need to surround yourself with people who know what you don't know, right? So
Mm-hmm.
again, me and my business partner, we have been in Houston now for it's going on like 4 years, and we've been networking. So I was very fortunate, and I'm like, it's not by luck, it's by work. By work ethic and determination purely is the fact that, we were able to meet Paul Lucia,
Mm-hmm.
and he owns Cabin and Row. And like this, he's one of those people who he got on the phone. He told us all these things, gave us all this information, blew our mind, right? I'm just like, wow, you know, it's incredible that somebody of that caliber will get on the phone with you, talk to you for an hour, 2 hours,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know you from Adam and is willing to help,
Yeah.
and he's an extremely successful businessman. So I'm like, this is incredible. We just got years worth of information from somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it, you know, this is great. And that's by networking. We continue to stay in contact with him, proved that we, do good work. We are, we are upstanding people. We pay people on time.
Mm-hmm.
We are not, fly by night people. So the reason why I landed in the position that I'm in right now is only and purely because, well, one, because I was determined to be here. Two, I've, built up a relationship with Cabin and Row. And three, I quit my job and I was able to take on jobs from Cabin and Row. And so, no, maybe I didn't sell myself to the customer, but I sold myself to Paul.
That doesn't matter if you're subcontracting for somebody else because they didn't have time to take on the project. I don't think so. You landed a project that's not you
Yeah.
selling yourself to you.
Yes. I mean, and I've been on hundreds of estimates over the course of the last 4 years where I've been on many of the estimates where we have sold. So, um, the background of me of my business background, it has helped me because I'm able to talk to people. I look at them in their eyes when I speak to them. I come to them from a different level. It's not just, I feel like a lot of installers, lack, they lack the skills like you were saying. They don't go out and learn how to sell.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go out and learn how to deal with people. That is an entire customer service. That's an entirely different skill, right? If you get a customer service job, they're going to put you through 2 weeks of training. There's a reason for that. There's skill and there's knowledge to being able to deal with different personalities and, reading people's reactions.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not mad in the instance, but, they may be stressed out or worried. And if that's your job to make them feel comfortable with you, you're going to be in their home for however many days or weeks. They're going to be investing money in your value and your skill. So you need to sell that. You need to sell that value. You need to sell yourself. You need to make them feel like they trust you. So I feel that alone has helped me because I have dealt with a lot of different people throughout my time working as an accountant and doing auditing, going out to actual, job sites and auditing, different union contractors and things like that. So I've had to deal with many different personalities and it has helped me tremendously. And what I like to do is if I know that there's something I don't know, I'm never going to act like I know everything, but I'm always learning, but I will always seek the knowledge from somebody who does know it. Ask questions, and you always want to surround yourself with people who are better than you. You never want to be the best person in the room, right? Because then what? You're surrounding yourself with the wrong people. You want to be with somebody who's going to teach you something. If they can't teach you something, they're going to provide value in some other way. They're going to show you the person who's going to teach you. So I always seek to find the best person in the room. And I want to know them and I want to know how they got to where they are, and I want to know that. I feel like there's a big, thing like I forgot the word. It's like there's like a secret competition that goes on in the industry where it's like, oh, well, like you're not better than me. I've been doing this for 20 years. I'm not trying to be better than you. I'm just trying to know what you know. I want to know, I want to know how you got so efficient. I want to know how you got so good. There's stuff that I can offer you. Like I spent 4 years in college. I spent the last 6 years being an accountant. There's a lot of things that I can tell you. I spent 10 years doing, learning accounting, and I can help you.
Yeah.
You can help me. It's a mutually beneficial relationship, right? So
you would think so.
Yeah, yes. And there's this weird, thing that goes on. Like it's like competition and people want to pick each other's work apart. And okay, that's fine. You want to be, everybody's a critic. That's great. But in reality, we're all here because things are constantly evolving and changing, right? So there's never going to be a time where you know it all. I mean, it's impossible because there's new products all the time. And I'm like, wow, I've never even heard of that. And that's fantastic. So in my mind is you live in a world where you need to constantly be open-minded and ready to learn something new.
But that's probably why you're where you're at. Look, let's be real, okay? So Paul with Cabot and Rowe was willing to talk with
Hmm.
you, and that's
Yes.
you know, look, I don't have an interview with him. I should probably do that because he is a very very wise man. You can go over to the Tile Money podcast, and he's got an
Hmm.
interview over there, and it is very insightful.
Hmm.
But you put in time, you put in effort, he continues to talk with you. What I have
Yeah.
found in my last, like, I don't know, I've really been serious. I've been out on my own for like 2.5 years now. I've really been serious about my business for like the last year and a half. It's amazing how easy it is to go find a mentor. All
Hmm.
you got to do is ask. A lot of these guys and gals out there, they will tell you everything they know because they are so proud of everything they've built, and they just genuinely want to help
Yeah.
somebody. What they
Hmm.
won't do is continue to tell you and mentor you when you don't put in the effort. You
Yes.
get one for
Yes.
free. If you don't show improvement and continued dedication and a work ethic to continue to improve, they will cut you loose so fast you won't even know what hit you. So that's the thing is you keep saying it. I work hard. I go the extra mile. I do the extra hours after I've done everything. And that's anybody that I know that has built something successful. And from all the
Hmm.
books I'm reading and everyone I'm interviewing, there's nobody that says, yeah, I went and installed from 9 to 5 every day, and now I have this like 5 store empire and 20 installers working for me and 10 salespeople. I haven't
Yep.
heard that story yet. I've heard about people putting in 16, 18-hour days for years, and
Hmm.
now they can go take the vacation because they're 5 to 7 years into it.
Yep. Like it's the follow-up phone calls. You answer your phone, you ask questions, you show up to events when they're there. You show genuine interest. And I'm not saying fake. Like you do not. If you don't have interest in it, don't bother.
Mm-hmm.
But like you show genuine interest in somebody, and you take pride in knowing them. It's just I don't know, like, yes, I call Paul a mentor because I look up to him and I look up to all the things that he's accomplished. And, you learn about the struggles that that person has had, like he didn't, his trajectory wasn't just straight up from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he struggles along the way, but all that everybody knows is like, oh, I'm Paul and I'm well known, but how did you get there?
Yep.
There's and all that stuff. It comes with asking questions, actually genuinely taking interest in somebody else, and learning that they're not just this person who got lucky.
Mm-hmm.
you know no, that's not how that works. It never works that way. Anybody really in the entire world, who you look at these big CEOs, you look at anybody of success, and I can guarantee you they have some crazy story of how they got there. And the one similar factor is the fact that they just never gave up. They never stopped showing up. They never stopped, taking action and moving towards their goal. So it's always going to be what separates the person who says, I don't like to read. Reading
Mm-hmm.
is for whatever. From the person who reads 5 books a week or listens to, an audio book to learn something new on their way to work every day.
That's it.
It's like I would have never gotten to the point that I'm at if I never said, oh, I was always scared to use the grinder. I would have never gotten to the point to use the grinder if I didn't say, I have to use it. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
have to
Mm-hmm.
find a grinder I like to use. I need to find one that I'm comfortable holding, like going to all different stores and reading different reviews and trying out different things. Because if not, if I just said, I don't like to use it, and then I don't use it, well, it limits me, right? So, like, I don't like, I'm afraid to go on a podcast. I'm afraid I might say something stupid, right? Oh, well, if I never do it, I never know what I'm capable of.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you got to look. Growth happens when you're uncomfortable. It's not going
yeah.
to happen in your safe space, in your millennial safe space corner where nobody can insult you, and you can not be, everything's got to be politically correct over there. Like, that space exists,
Yeah.
and if you want to be in it,
Hmm.
go ahead. But
Yeah.
you won't accomplish anything over there. Not worthwhile, in my opinion, anyways.
Absolutely not. There's no way. There's just no way. You know, you're scared to go to school on your first day of school when you leave home, when you got your backpack and your mom,
Hmm.
folded your undies, like you're afraid that day. But guess what? You went every day for the next 12 years or however long it is. So it's all about just taking the step and just doing it, because the worst that can happen is you said you tried it, but
Yeah.
you really never know what you're capable of until you actually give it 100%.
And that's huge right there. You don't know what you're capable of until you give it 100%. How many people go into something half-hearted?
I,
And you've already failed because you've determined you're going to fail.
yeah, I mean, yes. And like, uh, I could say so much about this. I'll go off on a tangent very quickly, but yeah, I mean, and you know what? I'm going to say I'm not perfect. Like there is so many times where I fall short of so many things. And one thing, I talk about my dad. My dad is very stuck in his ways. He's stubborn, but and I don't think he ever really even meant this to be something that stuck with me for the rest of my life. But a lot of the times when I was working with him, if I had to use a certain tool or do a certain thing, um, and I felt like it was really hard to do, I would say, Dad, I can't do this. I can't pick this up. And he would look at me like really serious, like he's from Brooklyn. He has a very heavy accent. What do you mean? What do you mean you can't do it? I'm like, Dad, I can't do it. I just can't, like, I can't do it. Well, who says? Who says you can't do it? And I'm like, me, I can't. He's like, okay, well, say you can do it and do it. I'm like, okay. And it's like, so many times I walked away from that and got frustrated or like, threw a fit. But
Hmm.
you grow up and you're like, well, yeah, like you literally, you are your own limitations on things. And it's very true. You go into things with a mindset saying, eh, this ain't going to work.
Hmm.
It ain't going to work. It's just not going to work. It's not going to happen. Because you're already saying it's not going to, instead of saying, how am I going to make this work?
Yeah.
How will I make it happen? Because if you can't make it happen on your own, there's people out there that either have made it happen, can make it happen, or can help you get to the right path.
Mm.
It's all about sticking your neck out, taking action. You might fail 6 times, but on the seventh time, you'll get it. So
Yes. And it's so rewarding when you do.
yeah, I mean, it's so cliche, but it is very true. And it's really very true.
No, it's not cliche because it's the truth. Go recently, one of the books of the month for Floor Academy, we did Miracle Morning, and
Hmm.
so it's the guy I can't think of his name. Miracle Morning, great book.
Hmm.
He's talking about like he gets up in the morning, he does affirmations, so you're gonna go and like you're gonna say out loud in the mirror, I attract money. I'm a great salesman. I'm an awesome
Yeah.
installer. Like say all these things out loud. And so my son
Hmm.
struggles with math. He despises math. Okay. He's in 6th grade. He still doesn't have his multiplications memorized. So I can like he doesn't have you can tell him 7 times 8 and he sits there and he's got to like add 7 8 times. He doesn't even
Oh,
realize that he can add 8 7 times. And it's really frustrating for me because I was naturally good at math, but he despises it so much. I hate math. I suck at math. I'm no good at this. Like that's all that ever comes out of
hmm.
his mouth. And so I told him the other day, I was like, you call me before you start math. And he hasn't done it. And I was home in between deliveries today. I walked in the house and I was like, you do your math yet? He was like, no, I need to do it now. I was like, good. He's like, say this after me. I love math. And he's just looks at me. He's like, no. I was like,
Yeah.
say I love math. And he starts whispering. I was like, no, you need to yell it with me. I was like, say it with me. And so I tried to get him to say like these 5 positive
Yeah.
things about how he likes math. He's good at it. It's easy for him. He enjoys learning it. And he's looking at me like I'm nuts. And I was like, you need to do this every day. Every
Yep.
day. And you will change your mind in like a month and you will start finding math a lot easier to do. And he's just looking at me like I am the craziest person in the world. And I was like, all right, look, you may not believe me now. You'll get older and you'll understand one day.
Oh my gosh. It's true though. Like, 'cause you can literally speak things into existence.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, you put a limitation and a ceiling on yourself, and that's it. Like everybody says, oh, I want to go to college, I want to get, a good job, and I want to get married and have a kid, and live with my white picket fence, and like that's it. So it's like everybody, they put their foot to pedal to the metal, graduate college, get a job, do all that other stuff, and then it's like they just stop accomplishing. They don't try and do new things and just like get out there and learn something new. It's like you just get to a certain point in life and you take your foot off the pedal, and it's like, okay, now what? Now I'm just going to float. And I mean, like, it's not true for everybody, but it's like a lot of what I see going on, because they've reached this ceiling that society says, okay, you reach this level. Now what?
Yeah.
Now what? Like what's my purpose now? Just keep going with the hamster wheel. And so like that, my ultimate goal in life in general, not just in my business, but is like to make sure that I constantly keep growing in some capacity. I never want to like end up feel like, oh, I've achieved this, this, and this, and these are the things I wanted to achieve in my life, and I'm great. I'm always going to be trying to strive for the next best thing, whether it's personal, business, financial, something. There's always going to be something that has to be worked on.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's just my nature.
Well, you already said it too. You said the
Yeah.
minute you decide that you're the best, like you've shut yourself off, because new products do come out and new technology comes out and new methods come out. And look, there's always somebody better than you. You're not the best. Like you may be good, but you are not the best. Okay, so like Michael Jordan was the greatest basketball player ever. And yes, I understand that's debatable and we can look at statistics, blah, blah, blah. There can only be one the best, but he's old and retired and long past like his prime now. There's somebody else that is now the best, and you can debate who that is. I don't really follow basketball anymore. I don't care. But there's many amazing tile setters in the world. You're probably the best at one aspect, but why not go find somebody that's just as good or better than you and try and learn a thing or two to push the bar to the next level? Don't shut off. Keep progressing and pushing the bar. People laugh at me when I sat there at the very beginning saying, I wanted to own a couple of stores. I want to do 5 to 10 million. I want multiple crews. I want salespeople, a warehouse. They're like, yeah, man, you're an installer. Like, that's funny. No, that's what I want. That's what I'm going to build. So that's what's going to happen. Don't tell me I can't do it, because now I'm more motivated, because you were like, that's a dumb dream. Like, you can't do that. You're just an installer. So you're just going to go be an installer. No, I'm not.
And people want to portray their limitations onto you, because once you step outside their box of understanding, you're no longer within you're no longer within their bubble. So there's something wrong with you. You've stepped outside their capacity of thinking, and it's just like, oh no, you just completely blew a hole through all of my, life thoughts here, and I can't even process this.
Good.
And I just like, it baffles me. It baffles me to no end, where people want to be like crabs in the bucket. You are trying to climb up, they're going to pull you down. And I'm like, why? Why? If there's somebody who wants to be a tile setter and then they want to be the president of the United States, good for them.
Heck yeah.
Good for them.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
let them do it.
Let's blow up their thought bubbles. I'll tell you what, I'll give you time to reconsider. I'll swing around on the next pass. We'll revisit this and see if you want to jump on board with me.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm going to keep coming around, and you're going to see me again and again and again. You can jump on anytime you want. It's going to require a little bit of work. You're going to have to make some sacrifices, but the reward is going to be so much greater.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's just my mindset on a lot of all of this. Even the people who make comments and say, I don't know, things that like I'm a disgrace or something to the industry. It's like, well, I'm sorry you think that. I mean, there's a lot of other people who do not think so. And I put in a lot of work and effort, and I get a lot of crazy accusations and assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all from people who have no clue anything, no clue about what I've done or who I am or how I got to where I am. You
Yeah.
know, it's insane. It's
It
insane.
is. Well, look, everybody, for as great as the internet is and
Hmm.
how much information we have access to, I was just talking to my apprentice about it today. Like, we have the information about money and wealth building and all of that, that's been around forever.
Hmm.
But you can access it a lot easier now. You can learn how to run a business. You can learn how to do trades. You can learn how to invest your money and build wealth. But most people
Yep.
don't have the drive to actually put it in motion. You know, Tony Robbins has been talking to people about how to make millions for years. How many people have actually become millionaires that do it? And most of it's
Yeah.
because they don't take the time. So
Yep.
all these people are sitting there and they have access to this thing and they can see, like you said, you know, you're outside my comfort zone and I don't like that. So I now have to knock it down
Hmm.
because I don't want to deal with it. So I'm just going to trash that so I don't have to deal with it. And then we can stay here in my safe zone.
Yes. And that's my thing. Like, another point I want to make is when people try to throw, throw digs or whatever at people, whether it's me or whoever else goes out there and they try to be known on social media, or they market themselves in some capacity,
Mm-hmm.
within the industry. And it's like, oh, well, you know, I don't need to do that. Well, that's great. Nobody's asking you to do it. You know, you don't need to. Or if you think that by me marketing myself is going to take something away from you or any other installer, because you're not getting as much attention or likes or what have you, clearly you're angry about that. Instead of being angry, why don't you ask me how you can grow your page? What books have I read? What processes am I taking?
Mm-hmm.
And what am I doing that has, furthered, like, gotten me further than you have? Because clearly I'm doing something different than you are. But they just always defer to, it's my looks or it's me. But if you study Instagram and the accounts that are on Instagram, there is plenty of accounts with very crude photos, both of men and women, and they get way less engagement than I get.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all numbers. It's numbers, and it's the way that it was just my strategy, like,
Yeah.
because I took time to learn about it. And so while I know something, instead of knocking it, it would be like me saying to another installer who has been installing for 20 years and does immaculate jobs or installs so quickly, like my head could spin. And that would be like me saying, oh, well, let me knock you down because you can do something I can't do. Instead, I try to seek information from them and trying to gain something from them in some
Mm-hmm.
capacity, because clearly they know something I don't know.
Well,
Um,
yeah. Look, Ken Ballin was getting trashed over a $1,500 backsplash he did the other day.
yeah,
You're ripping
it's
people off. Whoa! Hey, he threw out a price, they accepted it. That's not ripping people off, okay? And he lives in a tourist town where it's second, third, fourth homes. These people
yeah.
apparently have money and they like to spend it. Him running his business his way, I can respect that. Can you get 1,500 in your area?
Are
Maybe
you
not.
asking me?
But well, no, I'm just like in general, you know, that's everybody's excuse,
Yeah.
right? I can't charge that in my area. That would never work in my area. Well, have you tried? Well, no, but the other guy did and it didn't work for him. Well, yeah, but did you try?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been like, I caught on to the forums like 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
2.5 years ago, and I saw Ken very early on touting charge more, charge more, charge more. You're worth it. I've worked very hard. I've been told more times this year than any other time, you're almost twice as much as everybody else I've had out.
Mm-hmm.
It puts a smile on my face every time. I say thank you. I'm sorry that this isn't going to work, and I move on because I will find the person that wants me, and I only have to work half as much apparently. So
Yeah. I was
I'm
gonna say
totally okay with it.
1,500. I haven't seen this post. I'm going to have to go look at it. But I was gonna say that depending on how long it took, that sounds pretty cheap, though. Actually, it sounds like a pretty good price for a
It
backsplash.
was
I
like
mean,
a 20-foot
from
backsplash. It was
yeah,
nothing. It was tiny. But
What did it take him? Did it take him a day?
I think so. I don't, and that's essentially what it was. It was his day rate.
I mean, that sounds pretty good to me. That sounds about right.
Everybody's, but yeah, but you know that there's everybody. Like I don't do tile. Okay, I don't even know how to touch the stuff. I would probably install it upside down. Um, but everyone's out there doing. They get told by builders that you got to do it for like $6 a foot. So they're
Yeah.
doing these 108, these 30-foot backsplashes for, well, $6 a foot doesn't work, but whatever. They're doing 30-foot backsplashes for
Hmm.
$500 because the builder says
Yeah.
that's the price.
Yeah. Well, and guess what? It looks like crap, I'm sure, because they rushed and God only knows what kind of materials they used, and it's
Correct.
probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's whole other issues with that. Obviously, here we like to tout like charge what you're worth, invest in
Yeah.
yourself, charge more,
Yeah.
and that's all fine and dandy. But it comes with the other part. Go get the education that we've been talking about,
Hmm.
because you can't do it if you can't talk to them. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Great book if you
Read
haven't
it.
read it.
Read
Yeah,
it.
there it is, right? Like learn how to go and like talk to people and be personable with them and build a rapport right off
Yeah.
the bat. And I bet you start closing more leads.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's clear and it's apparent that more of that, self-development, or it's just the um the desire to actually, admit that, oh man, I really need to work on this. I kind of suck at that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just admitting that alone, you're conquering an entire piece of your mind that, you probably would have never done before. And you're going to be 10 steps ahead of the next guy because he hasn't even reached that level yet. So, before you can even open up the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, you have to admit to yourself that I need to work on this because I'm really bad at this. So there's like steps and levels that you have to get to, but just admitting to yourself, like, man, I'm not good at everything and I could be
Mm-hmm.
better here. And yeah, if I did this, I guarantee you I can definitely talk to people better. I can be a more understanding human being and just be better at my job overall, and maybe close more deals and make more money, or, expand my business into other areas, whatever it is that you might want to do,
Mm-hmm.
or even just motivate yourself to be better. Because motivation is a whole thing. Who feels 100% every single day? Who wants to wake up every single day and kill it? Not everybody. Some people you just have a bad day sometimes, and that's okay.
Yeah, it is. But then you got to go read the Miracle Morning because you don't ever have a bad day anymore. Apparently, that's Hal Elrod. That's his name. That's apparently it. Is like you wake up and you feel great all the time. He says I took weekends off at first and I didn't like my weekends, so I just started doing it every day and like I felt great for years.
Yeah.
So it's mindset.
Mhm.
I like here one of the things he points out is like, right, like if you go to bed super late and you only have like 4 hours to sleep, right, you're like, oh man, I'm gonna wake up super tired and it's gonna be a cruddy day because I'm not gonna get any sleep and I'm gonna feel so poopy. Like that's usually your mindset. And so in
Mhm.
the book he talks about like just tell yourself you're gonna wake up feeling great. Like go to bed with the thought of like, yeah, I can get 4 hours of sleep, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna feel good. And it happened to me this week. Tuesdays are really bad for me now. My son has Boy Scouts that night, and like we get home late, and then I can't unwind, and I've been up to like midnight the past couple of Tuesdays. So this Tuesday, I sat there and I told myself, I'm gonna get 4 hours of sleep. I'm gonna feel good in the morning, and I had removed Saltillo tile for 9 hours that day. Like, I was tired. I just wanted to go to bed. I got 4 hours of sleep. I woke up feeling good because I told myself I was going to wake up feeling good, and I went and removed Saltillo tile for 9 more hours that day.
Wow.
So the mind is a powerful thing, and you have more effect on what you're doing than I think most people realize. Like you have so much influence over yourself. It's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's full circle where you're like, dang, look at what I'm capable of. Because a few years back, I wouldn't have thought to myself like, man, I know Paul Lucia, like, or I do this and I've installed that. And now now I'm on your podcast. Like I would have never thought that what I wanted to do would take me here.
Hmm.
It's all just a sequence of events, meeting your goals, taking steps forward, taking action, and, but it's constantly outside of my comfort zone. And I especially know that if I feel uncomfortable, I'm probably doing something right. If I feel
Hmm.
like I'm nervous, I am nervous, I'm doing something right. And I'm getting closer to where I want to be. And then I can start by achieving my next goal, and it, I guess it's just, it feels really good to be able to accomplish your goals. And if I'm able to just influence one single person in the entire world to say, wow, you're right, like just reading that book or just doing this, taking these steps has helped me and helped my business and pushed me forward, whether it's in my personal life, in my business, or financial, or, I was able to close a deal that I never thought I was going to. Like, I would be the most ecstatic person on the planet,
Hmm.
just because it's just the type of person I am, and that's my goal.
No, right? Like, you got to leave the world better than you found it. If it's only one person, I'm okay with that.
Hmm.
I think a lot of us these days can have influence on many people. That's one of the reasons I like participating in the Cub Scout program. Is I get to have fun with my kids, and I get to go on
Yeah.
like cool hikes and camping trips and things like that. But there's other kids around that don't necessarily have a good role model. And
Hmm.
I trust me, I am the furthest thing from a good role model, but I'm there. I'm trying, and that's going to leave a positive influence on them in some form, and that's okay. So
Yeah.
you gotta start somewhere. You gotta do something. Ken always says it. Scott Humphrey came on. He said it. A rising tide lifts all ships. Be the
Yep.
tide, people. Come on, get on board. Stop trashing everybody else and continuing to bring this industry down. You are doing nothing but hurting yourself. It's asinine.
Yeah. I mean, the trade world all in itself does not have you know, a good name when it comes to the younger generation wanting to be a part of it in the first place. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, the people who are leading right now really need to take that into account. They take such pride in the fact that they spent the last 30 years perfecting their skill, but what good is it if, no one is there to take it on,
Mm-hmm.
because nobody wants to be like you. It's like, it's just the sad truth. Like, we have, if you look at the statistics online, there's more than 1/3 of the people who are in the skilled trades in the United States are between the age of 45 and 55.
Mm-hmm.
So that's baby boomers. What happens when they're done? They're retired,
I'm getting
right?
rich,
Like,
girl. That's what's gonna happen. But oh,
but that's what we're facing, right? Like,
yes.
and there's statistics upon statistics online about how the American infrastructure is, like, they're genuinely worried about the infrastructure and the skilled trades, how there is a major decline in people interested, the young people coming out of high school interested in getting into a skilled trade,
Mm-hmm.
because our society tells you to go to school, go to college, get a 4-year degree, and get a desk job.
Yep. I bet you they change that real quick though here in the next couple of years and start pushing
Yes.
trades back into the schools, because that's where I learned how to work with wood. Is I got wood shop for
Hmm.
6 years of between middle school and high school. I had 6 years of wood shop.
Wow. Yeah,
So
they don't do that anymore.
no, they don't. And you could. There was also what they have. There was electronics. I think they had some welding. There was home ec. You could learn how to
Hmm.
bake. Like, man, there was good stuff. Like, you had to learn how to
Yeah.
sew. All of
Yeah.
these skills. Like, I taught myself how to sew. I put my own patches on my Boy Scout uniform. Like,
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, like, being able to just figure something out, working with your hands. Like, you can believe people look at a hammer and they're like, "Well, how do I use this?" You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? Like, what? Oh my God.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I had a really good family friend of ours wanted to change out the locks on our house. And she was like, I'm going to hire the locksmith to come and do it. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, go buy them. You need a screwdriver. She's like, no. I was like, yeah, you need a screwdriver.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, there's
Oh
going to
my
be
God.
2 screws on the back, and then there's going to be 2 screws on the side. You're going to take those out. You're going to pull everything apart. You're going to put the new ones in. You're going to put the 4 new screws in. She's like, no. I was like, yeah. So she went and did it. And she was like, I did it. I changed the locks on the whole house all by myself. And she was like super proud of herself. But
Oh my God.
most, but
Hmm.
so, okay, but you had a dad that taught you this stuff or you paid
Yeah,
attention
no,
to, and so did I.
absolutely.
She did not.
Yeah.
And so it's completely like outside her realm. But that's the thing. Like, I'm willing to share this information that I have with people because it makes their lives easier. And most people don't realize how easy it is. They're paying hundreds of dollars for services they don't really need.
Mm-hmm.
It blows
It's
my
it's
mind.
basic. It's basic things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basic things. Very,
Oh.
very basic. I mean, it won't be until like I'll try to fix something until the point where I'm like, okay, I might get electrocuted, or I might blow this up. I'm gonna stop now. Like when I get to that point, I'm like, okay, I think
Yeah.
I'm outside of my scope of knowledge, and YouTube isn't helping.
Yes. Sometimes you got to
So
call in reinforcements. I get it.
yeah,
But there's no
that
harm
and
in trying.
anything on the roof or cutting a tree down, that ain't happening.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
You got a problem with heights?
I'm just like, I'm really scared to fall down. And the bugs that are like up there, like
Mm.
the spiders that are
Okay.
over in like the fascia and all that stuff are like hide up in there.
I was just
I'm not
figuring
cool with
it's
that.
because you're like 5'3", so you're really close to the ground anyways. So, you add that extra little bit and it starts getting scary.
I mean, and that too. I mean, it's very, I'm not, think about like the level, the altitude level that I operate at, compared to the other people. It's just, that's way up there.
So
So.
do you need a step stool in the tub to get to the ceiling, or do you stand on the tub to get to the ceiling?
Um, no, well, to get to the ceiling, I definitely need a step stool. I mean, I could stand on the tub to maybe reach like the shower head,
Okay.
but that's about it. Like to get to the ceiling, I'm gonna need a step stool, probably a ladder.
That's
Like,
funny.
a small ladder. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Hmm.
Get it. Oh, awesome. This has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you for playing along. Thank you for your insights. I know that, like I said, we don't want to give too much attention there. So
Hmm.
I think we handled that nicely. So many insights. I love that you push education, you push work ethic and drive. These are all themes that anyone I talk to that has built anything that's headed towards success or is already very successful, those are common denominators. And it's amazing how many people like don't let it click. Like I said, Tony Robbins has taught how many people to be rich, and yet how many are actually rich after years of conferences. So
Yeah.
pay attention, folks.
Yeah. And taking action is it's a whole other skill.
Hmm.
We get analysis paralysis. We get stuck. So.
Where can we find you? What do you like need to plug? It's at that tile chick.
At that tile chick, yes.
Okay. And
Hmm.
then,
On Instagram, Facebook is Schannon Violet, and I'm also on TikTok at that tile chick.
okay. Company name?
It's that tile chick.
Oh, I like, okay. We're just going to keep it consistent across
Yes,
everything. Now, is that,
yes.
is that the part, is that what the partnership is formed under, or is that something else? And that's just like a LLC that's off in the corner.
Oh no, my partnership is something else. It's Atlantis Construction LLC.
Okay.
So that tile chick is completely separate from that.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Mhm.
Thank you, Shannon, so much. I appreciate it,
Oh,
especially
you're very
because
welcome.
you're spending a Friday evening with me, and so I'm sure you've got much better things to do, like clubs to go to or something like that. Because you're single and young, and you don't have kids. So.
Well, I have audiobooks to listen to and dogs to snuggle with. So
Oh, well, I mean, look, that's a good Friday night in my opinion,
yes,
but
that's a perfect Friday.
I'm quote unquote old, so what do I know?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Uh,
And it's coronavirus outside.
ah, Forget it. That's not real. Okay, it is.
Nothing's open.
Yeah.
Even real or not, it's like, you
Yeah.
can't do anything.
It's real. I know that. I know people that have been affected by it. But
Yeah.
if we could get back to having a little bit of fun in life, that would be good.
Oh, yeah, it would be very nice. Be very nice.
All right. Well, I will let you get off to your dogs and your audiobooks.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it. It's been
No,
great.
it's my pleasure, and I'm sure we will
Yeah.
do it again.
Awesome.
That's all the time we have for this week. To keep the conversation going, head on over to the Floor Academy Facebook group. Be sure to subscribe so you can hear each and every episode. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and most major podcast directories. Don't forget to leave a review and let us know what you think about the show. If you would like to be a guest, have questions or feedback, you can email us at flooracademypodcast@gmail.com. You can help support the show by becoming a patron over at www.patreon.com/flooracademy. Remember, to learn, well, you earn.